That's because I had to drop the girlfriend off at work this morning. She goes to work bright and early in the AM. She works that nasty corporate job, that 9 to 5 shit. We're trying to get her out of that, get her into something fun that she really likes, like small engine repairs and things like that. One of these days, we'll get her there and have the whole setup here on the property at the homestead. We're close. We're close. We're getting there. It's slow. It's a slow process. But welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. Whew. What a rough few days. I don't know about the rest of you, but I put myself through the paces. Busted up my knuckles pretty good right there. Let some rage and anger take over. Never fun. Never fun. V8 Energy being my sponsor. Somebody reach out to V8 Energy and be like, "Hey, sponsor this dude. He drinks enough of your shit and talks about it enough on his live show that dun, 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 he needs to be your spokesperson, and you need to send him free products." There you go. Bum, bum, bum. But V8 Energy Peach Mango is the best flavor that they have. The rest of them taste like shit. And good morning, Casey, with your coffee in hand, hopefully. Or is it percolating right now? But welcome to the broadcast booth, Mr. Casey. I doubt Roy's going to be here, but we'll see if he shows up. Oh man, oh man. Like I said, I put myself through the paces over the past X amount of days. Um, Letting anger and rage get the best of me. And it happens. It happens. Sometimes we get mad. This was beyond that. Because like I said, I was trying to chase down a chicken at the homestead because she didn't want to go to the coop where she was supposed to be. So we have to resort to catching them by hand. And we built this little protective, basically flat roof onto the porch or on the deck back in the backyard so that the pigs have a place to lay to get out of the sun and all that good stuff. And there's this one little board that hangs down lower than the rest in the very back. Well, I'm focused on the chicken. I'm going full force after this chicken, and bam! Next thing I know, I'm cussing up a storm because I just nailed my head on this board. And now I've got a goose egg on my head right across here. And then I just start punching the wall, the cedar boards on the outside of the house. And I do that about 4 or 5 times, you know. And then I do remember looking at my hand. It's just like, okay, I'm good. Nothing's swollen. Nothing's all that good stuff. And then go about chasing down the chicken again, catching it, throw it in the coop, and very next, or probably about 30 minutes later, I look at my hand and my knuckles are already swollen up, and all that good stuff. And somebody asked a question. Hold on, let's see what was asked. Why would you want to fight anybody? Period. Um, but he asked, would you rather fight 33-year-olds or three 30-year-olds? I fought them all, buddy. I fought them all. Having kids, it's like a fight, especially at three. And then 30-year-olds, I fought a few of those in the military, but that's in hand-to-hand combatives and things like that. So it's your choice, whichever one you want to do. Doesn't matter to me. But so yeah, and then we lost one of our chickens, our rooster that's been our flock protector. Um, and so I went to grab him after I found him, and ended up slicing my head open on another piece of wood that's hanging off the edge of the porch as well. Gashed my head open right next to where I hit it the day before. with the board. So it's not been a good weekend so far this weekend, and it's just one of those things that not your proudest moments whenever you fly off the handle. I mean, it was just straight up rage because I remember just watching myself do it, as I'm punching the wall, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? This is gonna have no good consequences come out of it, you know. But I did it anyway, and did I feel better afterwards? No. Do I feel better today? Not so much, because it was stupid activities or stupid participation on my part, if you will. And my knuckles are still showing for it. They're still swolled up, you know. And I can grip and I can still make a fist and all that good stuff. But it's going to be black and blue. I mean, it was already turning a little bit on the darker shades, but you can see where it's swolled up right here in this section. But thanks for the likes, the shares, and the follows. And don't forget to do all that stuff when you get here. Like, share, and follow. We're up to 1.8 thousand likes already. That puts us in the popular live category, which is always fun, always exciting, especially for a small broadcast crew like us over here. You don't see the behind the scenes people with the boom mics and all that stuff hanging over my head, recording everything. I'm just kidding. We're not that sophisticated around here. We just have this little Mac right here, this little Mac right here, to the little device hooked to my phone over here, plus the computer over here, and all that good stuff. Um, so I've been watching a lot of older sci-fi and horror movies on Tubi. A lot of the '80s stuff, '90s stuff, and you just forget how nostalgic older movies are, and how some of them were on a shoestring budget, and you can tell, just by the actors that they've got and the locations that they picked and stuff like this, and it's just like, why don't they get back to movies like that? Now everybody's trying to do all this high tech gadgetry stuff and use as much CGI and AI as they possibly can in their movies, and it just looks like trash, you know. But back in the day, even the sword fights and stuff like that, I'm watching Gore, GOR, and an old sci-fi um, movie that sends this guy from modern times at the time. It was 1987 or something like that, back into the dark ages where swords and sorcery is relevant and running rampant and all that good stuff. Well, he becomes the kind of like Ash versus the Evil Dead. How he gets thrust back in time. With his shotgun, his boomstick. Well, this guy just goes with what he had, which was his father's ring, which is what transported him back to this time frame, or this universe, I guess. Not really time frame, but just a different universe that's different than the modern day. But it's an interesting movie. I've seen it before. It's just been a very, very long time since I've seen it. Watched the Jason Pitts film. He's the local producer here in town that I've worked on several of his movies. And I've also done a lot of props and artwork design for his movies. And Forest Through the Trees is on Tubi right now for free. You can see some of our uh, props and things like that lent into the movie, including some of the what is it called? Bum, bum, bum. I can't remember what it's called exactly. But you take the bones of dead animals and stuff like that and turn it into art projects, basically. Audrey did some pieces like that. Jason Pitts ended up buying them, and then they were put into his movie Forest Through the Trees. Just specifically, he bought them specifically for that movie. So, so she's got art pieces in the movie as well. And it's a very well put together movie. Um, it is a horror movie. It's I can't say that it's over the top horror, but it's a good watch. If you want to go see it, it's Forest Through the Trees, The Forest Through the Trees, on Tubi right now. I'm gonna see if any of his other movies are on there because he's got a trilogy the Alone trilogy. He's also got Voorhees, Night of the Beast. He does a lot of fan films, a lot of short films. He's done 2 or 3 feature-length films. For The Forest Through the Trees is one of the feature-length films that he's done, and he's getting ready to work on a couple more that I know of. So, be looking forward to those. Uh, and if anybody's up for a Bigfoot outfit, I've got a friend that's got one of those up for sale right now. He's looking for a home for it. He's wanting to get it out of his way. He's got a Bigfoot costume that was used in a couple of movies, and so he is looking to get offload that. If you're interested in that, hit me up, and we will go from there. I'll get you in contact with him. All right, so we're going to talk about a little bit of artwork today because the show must go on. Even if you're busted up your knuckles, the show's got to go on. I'm still working on this massive God of War piece. I just finished up the character designs basically for their outfits and things like that, which I'll go ahead and show right here. Dun, dun, dun. Right there. All their different weaponry that they've got going on: the spear, the axe, and the chaos blades. Oh, the Leviathan axe, I believe is what it's called. I can't remember what the spear is called, but those of you that play God of War or have played God of War, you would know what all of these weapons are that he uses, and I do not know all of that myself. Because I do not play God of War. I don't play games pretty much anyway. I ain't got time for that. And so, with all that being said, I'm surprised. No, I mean, I'm not surprised that Roy's not here yet because he's sleeping. He stays up all night. He doesn't do a normal schedule. He sleeps during the day and then is up all night. And then usually is already in bed or trying to go to bed at this point in time. And so, yeah. Um, bum, bum, bum. Casey, I am waiting for a response on the question that you've got out there. I'm hoping they'll get back to me at least today. If not, I'll give them a call today and find out. Oh, da 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 da. No, I've scoured my entire house. We're gonna get to artwork here in a minute. We're gonna talk about the whole roof situation that I've got going on. How difficult is it to get the paperwork you really want for something? I've contacted the company that did the roof originally in 2022 and crickets from them. So I'm going to be giving them a call to deal with this jackass once again because it wasn't a pleasant meeting the first time we were face to face. Well, technically, let me rephrase that. It wasn't a pleasant meeting when I was talking to him via messages, meaning emails, things like that. Once he saw me face to face, I guess he thought I was going to be a smaller person and thought I was going to be a pushover or something. I really don't know what his thought pattern was, but his attitude changed because as soon as he got out of the car, he was like, "I think we got off on the wrong foot." You think, motherfucker? It was like, I'm telling you what you did wrong, and you're telling me I'm an idiot. Well, you didn't have the drip edge. You have no. Oh, look, Roy finally shows up. Only 15 minutes late this time. Congratulations, Roy. Welcome to the show. There's no drip edge. There is no overlaying of the shingle because you're supposed to have a 1/4 inch to 3/4 of an inch hanging off of the drip edge. None of that happens up here on this flat roof at all. There is no underlayment under there, underneath the shingle over my flat roof, and they're supposed to be. He stopped it where the two shingles meet He put the underlayment pressed down on the rollout shingles. I can lift up the shingles on the edges. I shouldn't be able to do that, period. And see the exposed board sitting there with no gap tape, if you will, because a lot of people will put down this gap tape on the seams of where the boards meet and hook up. None of that's done. And so I'm just trying to get some paperwork to show me warranty of what they gave, what warranty they gave, because they got paid a pretty penny. More than I was told that they got paid anyway. Um, what work was actually done, because I still haven't gone up there yet to see what kind of OSB board they put up there, because it'll say it right on the board. So I've got to get up there and see if they used a 1/4 inch, a 1/2 inch, or what they used. Much appreciated for the gifts. All that 7 cents will go back to the printing processes of stuff like this that you see and other artwork as well. Um, because in reality, you're supposed to use a 3/4 inch OSB board on your roof so that it doesn't sag over time as much. You know, it has a little bit more sturdiness to it. Well, I've already got a soft spot on the flat roof area. Um, so that leads me to believe that it's only a 1/4 inch, which that's just me guessing. I've contacted the original person I dealt with the mortgage company. They can't find any paperwork, which it should be stored on their computer somewhere. I've contacted the company that put the roof on. I'm not going to blast their name. I've already done that many times. Like if you go back to my 2022 account of the roof, you will see me blasting them on social media. Um, Contacted them to crickets so far. I've recontacted the original mortgage company to see, who has all the documentation to the house, originally besides myself. Because, like I said, I've scoured my entire house and I can't find my paperwork for whatever reason. I cannot find the folder that it's in. And I know I've moved that thing 100 times in the 4 years of living in this house because it doesn't fit in a standard filing cabinet because it's legal size documents. And it's in a black plastic folder, that's at least 15 inches long. So not going to fit in an 8.5 by 11 filing cabinet. Unless you put it in there sideways, and I've already checked underneath and all that good stuff where I thought I might have put it, and nobody seems to have any paperwork for this house. Period. I've contacted my agent that got all this stuff rolling, and so now it's just like I'm getting to the point where I've exhausted all of my resources of trying to get the paperwork for the house. So again, I'm going to be calling the jackass that put the roof on. I really don't want to deal with him because I know I'm going to blow up. So I've got to keep that part of me in check. And if I do put on a happy face, there's going to be a lot of rage behind it. Oh, and I just need the person to make it right. So, on that note, do I file an insurance claim? Do I file? I don't know what I'm doing yet. 11.8 thousand likes puts us in the popular live category. Much appreciated for everybody that's liking the show and listening to me rant about my roof. Oh, So that's where I'm at on the roof for those asking. On the second note, those asking about my mom, she's doing okay. She still has her moments. Where she misses the guy, her husband of 50 years. Their anniversary is getting ready to come up, actually, or that would have put them at 51 years. Um, and so, I'll be just keep her in your thoughts, prayers, and vibes, and all that good stuff. And we're still trying to get her to decide what she really wants to do, you know, uh, because she can't stay out there, you know, by herself. I know she wants to, but it's just not feasible, you know. And my hand's all right. It doesn't hurt. It's just still swolled up. I mean, you can see where the punching happened right there. That little red dot right there. That's where the punching took place. But it is swolled compared to my other hand. You can see the, well, maybe you can see the difference. I don't know. You can see definition in one. You can not see definition in the other one. So, but it's all right. I have range of motion. I can still grip. I can still got my nuts here. I'm gripping my nuts. I'm gripping my nuts. And so I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for asking. So we want her to do what's best for her, and without pressuring her to do something that she doesn't want to do. You know. You're welcome, Casey. You're welcome. And but we also want her to be safe at the same token. She does have weapons, so she does know how to use them. And well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. You're welcome. It was a fun service. I wish I would have done it younger. Like I said, like I've talked about many a times before, I really wish I would have done it out of high school. But the only ones recruiting me hot and heavy were the Marines. And at the time, like I told them, I didn't want to stop tanks with my head, you know, because I wasn't really that big into the whole military at the time when I was a younger kid. I was an angsty teenager and wore the black duster and had the long hair and all that good stuff. And but all in all, military is military, and I have no problems with people that served in any branch. You served your country, so there you go. Because my nephew's in the Air Force, my cousin went Air Force. Um, a lot of my good friends that were in the National Guard with me, even though we were on active duty orders pretty much my entire 6 years, 8 years total. Um, there were some Marines, there were some Air Force folks in there, and got deployed with them all. Several different deployments with them, and like I said, the only regret, I would have done it younger. I was 33 when I joined, and that's retirement age for a lot of people going into the military because they've already done their 20 plus years in the National Guard or whatever, and all that good stuff. So, but yeah, I was a late bloomer with it all in the 45th Infantry, keeping my grandfather's legacy alive. So there you go. Because he was 45th in Korea in World War II. He did a couple tours, and that's one thing he never talked about was his service for the most part. He would touch on some things here and there, but he would never really go into the full details. You know, and I wish he was still here today, and I would ask him, you know, tell me some of your war stories. You know, so that they could be documented and know exactly what all happened to him and his buddies over there. At those particular times. So, but those never, as far as I know, never got written down anywhere. So those stories are lost and gone. And that was 16 years ago when he passed away. So, there you go on all that. Um, Artwork is still happening, hot and heavy. And not gonna lie, I wish I could join, but I gotta stay and make sure look over my family. My mom's health isn't the best. I get that. My mom's health isn't the best. She's 83, about to be 84, and she just lost her husband of 50 years as of what, 2 weeks ago now, the 12th. No, a little bit longer than that. The 12th is when he passed away, her husband. And we're in June now. We are 3 days into June. Again, their anniversary would be coming up. So I get that 100%. Uh, and that's a testament because a lot of people don't even wish that, you know. So kudos to you for even wanting to be in the military. So there you go. So the artwork side, I got a lot of commissions that I'm working on. I'm working on a Chisholm piece, the opening scene where you see Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne is in Chisholm, didn't you know? John Wayne with the big iconic tree, and he's sitting on his horse underneath that tree. Is that iconic scene as it opens up Chisholm, an old western from back in the day. I think that was done in the 70s, maybe late 60s, early 70s, somewhere in there. I'm gonna be painting that scene up for a buddy of mine who's getting it for his dad. I'm working on a character piece for someone that wants themselves done in that Chat GPT shit that's going around hot and heavy with the whole character board. They're like, I thought about doing that, but I wanted a real artist to do it. And so I'm going to be taking, you know, that whole Chat GPT style look and turning it into a real piece of artwork instead of just something that a app creates for you. And then I've got two more commission pieces that I'm working on. One of them that it's going to take a full year just to get paid for, and everybody knows which piece that is. Um, and I bet most of you could tell me which piece it is right now if you really thought about it. Because whenever you're getting $12 here, $8 here, $21 here, it's going to take forever to pay this piece off. That if you just put $25 a month, it would have already been paid off a long time ago from when this whole thing started. What was it? February of this year is whenever this project started. And to date, I've got 3 payments. And that was only after I talked about leaving some bad reviews on the building that he works at, so on and so forth. And I already cut him a discount on it because it's a memorial piece for for some friends of ours that passed away. But we'll get into that. All right, so here's Emma Frost, the White Queen. I haven't colored it in yet. She's all penciled and inked in. All the pencils gone, but she's inked in and ready to be painted and colored in. Because I've got to do painting up here where the logo is, so that she is over the top of the logo. Sometimes that's the hardest part, is getting that paint down right there to make it all run smooth together. This is an older piece, but it is of one of the stars, one of the actors in several of Jason Pitt's movies. The Forest Through the Trees, he's a main actor there in it. His name is James Stokes. I drew this piece from his not Nightmare on Elm Street, Jason Voorhees piece that he usually portrays Jason Voorhees in several of Jason Pitt's movies. And this is him as, you know, just James, and then as Jason as well. And of course, he autographed it at one of the shows we were at together. Good dude, lots of talent. He's a beast of a guy. He works out. That's just one of the pieces that I've got. I've thought about coloring it in. I'm not 100% sure. Then our whole new horror series piece that I haven't started inking in yet. You got Ghostface here. You got Jane. Jason's already gone. You got Freddy right here. This is number 2 in that new horror series piece. You got Jason Voorhees would have been next, but he's already been bought and sold. And is at its new home for a permanent home. Well, thank you. Pumpkinhead. And all these in this new slasher series that I'm working on, there's going to be blood swoop going on all of them. Right down in there. So there is going to be blood. 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 Drill Sergeant. That's what makes the green grass grow. And the last one so far in this piece is my Candyman. Right here. He's going to have blood and honey. He's going to have bees, honeybees in this blood splatter coming down from his mouth, because that's one of the ways that he got killed. You know, he got dieted by the honeybees that they injected all over him. Actually, they just poured the honey on him, and the bees came and did the rest. And then the novel work that I've been working on. Let me move Salacious Crumb out of the way. Those of you who don't know who Salacious Crumb is, right here, he's in Jabba the Hutt's palace right there. And this is one of the earlier animatronic pieces right there. Very simple animatronics. But he is, again, from back in the day. What year is he? He does have some voice stuff in here. I got to put new batteries in. I'm trying to figure out where his date is. I think he's 70 or 80 something. But found him at a thrift store one day, and couldn't pass him up since he still worked. All that good. Oh, here it is. I can tell you off of this. I got the tag on here still. It was originally the original price was $60. I think I got him for like $10. Trying to find the date in here. Maybe this one doesn't have the date on it. No, it doesn't have it on this card anyway. So I'll have to look him over a little bit more. Because he's got a false skin over the top right there. Child's Play is a good one. Mine is A Nightmare on Elm Street. Freddy Krueger is my ultimate baddie right there. Um, I know if you ask Roy, his is Halloween. Halloween because of Michael Myers. He likes him some Michael Myers. That big buff dude with a knife. Don't you, Roy? All right, so I'm working on this is my cover to a novel. This is an actual novel, a book out there. Um, Autographed by the author right there. This is my artwork for his Sour Worlds books. And I've already got novel number 2 out there as well. He's getting ready to get those printed. And so this is one of the characters from his book. This is called the Knot. It is kind of like, think Swamp Thing or Man Thing esque. It is a tree creature. I still have a lot of work to do on it, but it's got smoke coming out of the creature itself and things like that. And I can't say what I would normally tell you right there, Roy, about those 2 teams that you suck up right there too, but because I will get banned if I say what I really want to say. This is Harrow, another character from his books, right here. Again, it's going to be inked up and colored in and all that good stuff. But he's got the metal wings, which you saw in that book cover. The metal wings, the rusted metal wings. Here he's got the razor wire coming out of his hands right there. Boom, boom, boom. And then, if you've ever read any comic books in your life and you've seen Wolverine #1 from back in the day, this is me as Wolverine, and this is me posed as I just did a pose, and then I turned it into Wolverine because I have myself. I'm trying to. Here it is. I did this one a long, long time ago, 1990 to be exact. I did me as Forge back in the day. If you know who Forge is from the Uncanny X-Men as well, he is a tinkerer of weaponry and gadgetry, and is just a genius when it comes to, his ability to work on things. And he even created his own leg right here that has a see-through membrane that you can see the metal and all that good stuff underneath. So I drew myself as a character of Forge a long time ago. 1990, some of you weren't even born then. And so then I recreated myself because I was going to recreate that one in today's time with my art style and all that stuff worked into it now. But I did this one instead. Me as Wolverine from the iconic issue #1, where he's got all the bodies piled up underneath him with the moon behind him. And I used the same style of shirt and pants and then the moon that was on that cover as well. Yes, this one is inked in and it's ready for some color, which is simple color because it's all blues. Um, from back then, they didn't really differentiate all their colorization very well. So, but we're looking at getting that one colored in pretty soon. And then a character I didn't even know existed until this year, which is kind of sad because she's actually a pretty cool looking character, and they have a couple different looks for her. I'll start with the first look, the one that started it all, if you will. The Harley Who Laughs, based off of the Batman Who Laughs universe, coming from the same style there. So this is her, the Harley Who Laughs, with the spikes coming out of the skin. Again, I didn't know she existed until this year. She came out in 2022, yeah, actually, and yeah, it took me 4 years to figure out that she even existed. So you're already cutting out. You stayed on for 15 minutes and you're leaving. What a pussy! Here's the other look with her knife mask that she's got right there. She does have the sport tongue in both versions, but the spikes aren't in the skin. They're actually in the balls of her jester hat right there. Well, if you would sleep at a regular hour like normal people, you would be up right now. But you have a good time over there with your mayo, your Miracle Whip. This is the Batman Who Laughs from the Metal Universe of DC. And a lot of my stuff now, I'm going to be putting in background work to it because as I look at some of my older stuff, my older works, it's just like that's so blasé, that's so bland to not have any background in there. So I'm putting backgrounds in on a lot of my new stuff and getting a little more detailed with it all when it comes to, you know, how the clothing folds and all that good stuff. And then here she is, the bane of my existence. The one that should have already been paid off a long, long time ago. And it's still not finished yet, just because the guy hasn't finished paying yet. He hasn't even got to the halfway point of payments yet. But it is a memorial piece for Crystal, who passed away the very last day of December of 2025. And she was a friend of mine and this guy that commissioned it because it was her boss. And he's the management at an establishment in town. He makes the money, but he's always coming up with excuses. But this is it, the Stitch Witch, because she was a Wiccan and she loved Stitch. She also loved dragons and a bunch of other stuff. But this is what I designed for her, for so that they could hang it at the office. And I gave them a huge discount on it. Thinking that it would already be paid off and all that good stuff. But little did I know, it took 4 months to even get a first payment from this guy, and I practically already had it finished by the time he started making any payments. And again, with commission, I usually don't even start it until half payment is down. But I figured this guy would be on the more up and up. Fool me once. That's all it takes. And so that's been the bane of my existence when it comes to the artwork side so far. This is like only the third time that I've had trouble with people paying, on a piece, if you will. Everybody else either goes ahead and puts the half down, or they go ahead and pay for all of it right off the bat. And I thought that's what was going to happen. This guy would at least get up to half payment pretty easy. And I even showed him a breakdown, $25, and you would have already had this paid for in 5 months. But lo and behold, here we are. What did I say? February is when this started. We're 5 months in, and still not even half payment is there. I think we're up to 40 something bucks paid in, which definitely is not half payment. So, live and learn. And, that's where I'm happy with the people that actually pay either at least half or all right off the bat. And those people are usually returning customers. So there you go. But yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. I've got a ton of paintings. If you can see, some of them off to the side over here. I've got 5 right there. I got 1 right there. I got 2 back over there. I got 2 right over there. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've got 11 paintings that I'm working on right now as well. Now, some of those, not to mention the commissioned one that I've got. So that's 12 paintings that I'm working on. Not to mention my life-size Boba Fett that I'm working on as well, that I haven't touched in 4 years because I don't have the ceiling space, if you will, to have it in here. 22.2. Yes, all 2s across the board. There we go in the popular live category. 22.2 thousand likes. We appreciate all the likes that are rolling in. That does help us out for being our small broadcast channel here. And we'll keep it like Casey Kasem, and we'll count them down. Or count them up in this case. And most of you don't even know who Casey Kasem is. So I have his autograph, by the way. We went through autographs a long time ago, and his is one of the autographs that I've got in the book, just like Bob Hope. I've got a Bob Hope autograph and all that good stuff. So, and a lot of you don't know who he is either. I get that. Just like Neil Diamond, who's that? A lot of old folks. There used to be a day where you could write to celebrities and they would send you an autographed picture back. That's how I got a lot of my autographed pictures from celebrities back in the day. In the late '90s, early 2000s, I was handwriting or typing on the computer. Hey, can I get an autograph? For whatever reason. And so yeah, I got quite a few autographs that way. and it was quite fun. Pierce Anthony, a very very popular artist, or not artist, writer, author, sent me a picture of him and his dog, and he's one of the ones that keeps tabs on who he sends autographs to. So that's kind of cool. So he kind of knows what you're going to use them for. Basically, if you are requesting multiple autographs, of him, oh, you're going to be reselling my autograph. I get it. So no, you're not getting another autograph. But then you get others that really don't care. Just like when you go to comic book conventions and you pay your X amount of dollars for their autograph. Um, as long as you're paying them, they don't give a shit what you're doing with the comic book. Just like Jim Starlin, the creator of Thanos and a bunch of other Warlock and tons of other characters out there. He was a little pricey when it came to getting his autograph because I took 27 books to get autographed for him specifically. Yeah, it got taken down to 5. He was $20 an autograph, you know. And so I had to really decide which ones I wanted to get autographed. So Batman Death in the Family definitely was one of them that I got autographed. The first appearance of Thanos um, in Iron Man number 55, and then some Warlock that he did, creator of Amazing Fantasy, I believe is what it was in. So I got all those autographed, plus Heroes for Hire. That was a good one to get autographed. So I had to pare it down. I couldn't spend, you know, that type of money because you do the math. $20 times 27. You do that math. And that's how much I would have had to have spent to get all those books autographed. So I was like, damn. I was hoping he was like a $5 or $10 autograph, but not the case. Not the case. But I get it. You're older, you're more established, and you've created a ton of characters for the Marvel universe and DC universe and your own stuff. Dread, what was it? Dread Star, I believe is what it was called. Plus another comic book that he had. He had two different comic books under his moniker. Jim Starlin's whatever. Dread Star was one, and then there was another one. I can't remember what it was called. But your establishment came from your Marvel runs and your DC runs and the characters that you created in both of those universes. So, and I get that. But then you get other people that are charging like 30 and 40 bucks for an autograph that are basically brand new artists, and it's just like, are you kidding me right now? I remember when autographs were free. I've got a whole slew of stuff up here that I got at comic book conventions that was absolutely free back in the 90s, you know. And some of them are very well known artists. I mean, Art Nichols right here, the Spider-Man piece that I've got. Joe Jusko, one of the living legends out there that has painted so many and created so many characters. You know, John Carter's Warlord of Mars and things like that. Stephen Hughes, who is no longer with us, from Chaos Comics. Jason Jensen from Chaos Comics. Marat Michaels, Dan Fraga, Ken Hunt. Now, Ken Hunt wasn't free, but it was relatively free for the price he gave that one to me for. But I've got so many free things that I picked up back in the 90s that I'm just now starting to get hung on my wall, and including the Guy Gilchrist from 2020 when I met him as my booth mate, basically. He was sitting right next to me. He is, if you don't know who that name is, he is Jim Henson's personal artist for the Muppets and things like that. So he worked hand in hand with Jim Henson, and great. He was actually a great dude. Very down to earth, um, very humble person, and that's how you should be. And you see a lot of artists and writers and things like that think they are above everybody else because, oh, well, I've got work in this, oh, I've got work in that, oh, what have you done? Oh, you've only done one cover? Oh, well, so sad. Sorry for you. You suck, you know? And that's their mentality, is that I'm a better person than you are because I've done more in my career than you have. And you get the eye disease. I've done this. I've done that. Well, what have you done? And I see that with people that talk about other artists on a regular basis. Because there's even one that helped me get on a cover, but it's all about I with this guy as well. And then you meet the very humble people, the very humble creators. Welcome to the broadcast, Jackie. Hello. How'd that hair turn out? But welcome to the show. Again, if you don't know who Jackie Higher Vibes is, go check her out on her channel. She's got a lot of cool stuff to check out with her adventures and misadventures, if you will. Just like my misadventures, I was talking about busting my hand up, as I punched the wall uh, outside when I got super angry and raged out. Um, but you get so many of these creators that think they're so much better than everybody else that the eye disease comes in. And all they can talk about is me, 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 me. This is how I do it. This is what I do. This is how, you know, and it's just like you forgot where you came from. You forgot who got you where you are. And that's the sad part about getting a little fame under your belt is that you start to belittle people. And I don't ever want to be there. I don't ever want to be to the point where I forget where I came from. Because I know where I came from. I was the school lunch lady's kid. We got the square pizza at home as well as school. We got the goulash from school as well as home. Because the leftovers, they divided it up amongst themselves and the lunch ladies in the lunchroom and they took it home because that was cool back then. And so you had leftovers, those type things. Did I hate it? Absolutely. Mom, I've already had this shit before. And then whenever it came to Friday mystery meat surprise, yummy. When they mixed all the shit together that was left over from the week that hadn't been taken home, that was always fun. What is it today? I don't know, but it's a meatloaf now. But no, people forget where they come from whenever they start getting some fame and fortune under their belt. And I don't ever want to be at that point where I forget where I came from. And that's why I will talk to this younger generation that of artists that are wanting to be something later on. And when the parents stop at comic book conventions and are like, "Yeah, my child is a really good artist and stuff like that," I'll listen. I'll talk to them, and I'll even show their kids pointers. I even had a parent pay me for an art lesson, basically at one of the shows. Um, showing them some simple steps how to create something out of nothing, because everything is a shape. You know, everything starts as a shape, just like this. What is it? It's a cylindrical object. That's it. You can have this drawn in 5 minutes or less. It's nothing is hard unless you make it hard. You know, stop it. Not that kind of show. It can be, but it's not. Jackie, I saw your brain turning there. Yeah, she's got some real winners that pop up on her show. Let me tell you, she can tell you about those real winners. But nah, she's a great person. She's awesome. You need to go check her out. I've known her for quite a while, and she's had her hands in a lot of cookie jars. She said she's got 5 jobs now. I think is what it is now, even though it was just supposed to be one. But that's how it is. You're she's getting that money hand over fist right there, you know, and that's how it's supposed to be for her to take care of her family. But we all go through struggles in life. Never forget where you come from, and never belittle other people. You know, because I know it is one of those things where it's an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, and all that good stuff in today's society. But try to remain humble in who you are. Try to remain grounded in what you do. Don't let fame get to your head, like I see a lot of people do out there. And then I see, then you see the bad mouthing happening. Um, I've seen comic stores do it because um, they don't like a specific creator and how they're never going to support this person again. But if you want to order stuff from this specific creator, you can. I've seen other artists attacking other artists because their work just isn't as good as mine, and so on and so. I mean, the list goes on and on, and you see it not just in my field, but you see it in musicians, you see it in actors, you see it in, you know, the list goes on and on. Musicians, and now, granted, I can see where these arguments come into play, just because there are people that aren't as good as other people. But let's look at it this way: someone believed in them enough to give them the chance. There's a lot of musical artists that I can't get behind. Sleep Token is one of them. I've given them a shot. I've listened to their stuff. I've downloaded their stuff to my Apple Music, and I still can't get into them, no matter what song pops up on my shuffle. And people love them. I just don't get it. I'm sorry. And then there's a lot of other artists that people love that I'm just like, why? How? I don't understand. Please make it make sense to me. Why you like this artist above this artist, or so on and so forth. It's just the music of today, and then all the AI stuff that's coming out, musical wise or artwork wise, and how people are starting to now realize that, oh, those those data centers are using up all of our resources. That's why we don't have the water pressure we used to have, as these data centers are popping up and having to cool all of their servers and stuff like that because of the massive amounts of data being produced. What was it? One town lost like 290 million gallons of water due to a data center that had popped up, and they didn't know where it was going to until they found out that this data center had water running to it that wasn't supposed to be going to it because they weren't paying for water. Maybe they should just set these data centers up in the ocean. Look like a little oil rig out there, but it's a data center. Got all the salt water you need right there to cool your stuff. But then someone would gripe about that. Um, I don't like AI. Period. I'm not a I'm not a fan. I never will be. Like I've talked about many, many, many times. Anytime AI suggestion gets popped up on my stuff, like when it's, do you want it turned on your phone? Absolutely not. Do you want it turned on your computer? Absolutely not. I still use CS4. Like I said, um, hold on. CS4, right there. No AI technology. That's what I use on my computers. My computer, the one that will actually run it. Um, but yeah, I've still got it right here. And whenever something happens, you can see how dusty it is right there. I need to go ahead and dust her off my paint rag. There we go. Now she's not as dusty and crusty. But yeah, this does not use AI technology. Everything else that Adobe produces now has AI integrated into it. So I do not use the cloud for my Adobe products. I still use the disk, which just puts the program on the computer and all that good stuff like it used to back in the day. I would love to move up to CS6 or CS8 or wherever it stopped before it went to the cloud based, but that's super hard to find, and the program is super expensive anyway. It shouldn't be anymore, but it still is. People still want their $1,200 or $1,500 for the program when it's on disk, and it's ridiculous. Yes, I know it's out of date. Yes, I know it's hard to come by. Yes, I know this, that, and the other, but still, it should not be $1,200 to $1,500 for the discs, for the program. But that's where we're at with that. People still want that brand new price, even though I think what 2008, 2010, somewhere in there is when it stopped rolling out actual physical discs, and it went to the cloud-based program. And then they started incorporating all the AI technology into it, so it helps you as an artist. 30.8 thousand likes over here, and we appreciate that very, very much. That's a great number to be at. But it does slow down once we hit about 30,000, as we have noticed. But yes, we're at 30.8 thousand likes, and that is great. Puts us in the popular live category yet again, like I said. And so, yes, I am not a proponent for AI. So every time I see AI shit popping up, um, it's running too rampant, 100%. I've got one guy that's all he sends me in messages is nothing but AI bullshit. And it gets old after a while. It's to the point where block you on the messages. Not block you, but block you on the messenger, because every day it's 2 to 3 AI pieces of video, of something. Anymore, I don't even watch it. I just scroll on by. I open it so it looks like I read it and then go on. Because he's a true proponent for AI bullshit, just like so many other people are. And, I'm just, I can't get into it. Especially whenever you see the advertisements here on TikTok for products that they've got and it's clearly AI. The mouth doesn't work, doesn't match. It's like it was dubbed. The product is so flawless whenever it takes all those scratches and paint dings out of your car as you just wipe over the top of it, over the rust paint where they stick the whole brush in there all the way up to the metal portion of the brush, and then they come out and it's just on the tip of the paintbrush itself, the bristles. It's just like, yeah, that's not how paint works. Sorry, paint is going to be all the way up where you put the whole paintbrush in there. And now they're talking about making AI people for movies that are passed on, just like Val Kilmer. They're going to make a whole movie with him in it with AI technology. I'm not a Val Kilmer fan anyway. Only a few movies of his that I like. But it's just getting ridiculous with the AI bullshit that's out there now, and everybody wants to use it. Everybody, and that's why I'm happy. Like I've said many many times before, if you've ever been on my broadcast channel, that I'm happy that when a comic book convention finds out that you're selling AI bullshit, you get booted. You get the boot. You're gone. Peace out. And if you are claiming to be an artist, no matter what it is, music, voice actor, artist, illustrator, those type things, and you bring the AI stuff to your show, what are you going to draw? Just on the artist side, the illustration side, what are you going to draw? You going to draw some stick figures for people? You going to draw an outline of something maybe? But your talent comes from. I was looking to see where I had it. Ah, here we go. Here's your talent. Oh, look, I made some artwork. No, you didn't. That app just created your artwork for you. You're just a fucking keyboard warrior. And that's where your talent lies. It's right here. Your talent doesn't come from this, 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 or this. Your talent comes from an app that created that piece for you. That ultimately is trash. Yes, more and more people are getting into it, like I said, but no soul, no life. Even the music that's being produced, you can tell. And if somebody has 2 or 3 albums out in 2026 and we're only 6 months in and you've got 3 albums out in 6 months and they all say 2026, go read up on that person. 90% of the time, AI generated music. Because I've seen some bands out there that are like that. You go to their page, you hear some music, you want to know more about them, so you go to their page, you pull it up, you see 1, 2, 3, 4 albums in 2026. And it's just like most people can't even make 4 albums in 10 years, but you've got 4 albums out in 2026. You better be looking. You better be looking. But I appreciate each and everybody out there. Love all of you guys. Don't forget to tell people that you love them because tomorrow is not promised to either any of us, period. The next 10 minutes aren't promised to any of us either. So make it a practice to tell people that you love them on a regular basis. And as I like to say as we leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody. See, it didn't hurt my hand. And I just clapped on it. Have a good day. You all have a great one. Get you some sleep if you need it. Get you some food. Get you some coffee. Whatever you need to do for your day. Take it easy. Love you guys. And we will catch you on the flip side.